everybody, and welcome to another episode of Landscape Marketing Secrets. Today, I have a special guest and one of my very dearest friends, Miss Barbi Holdeman from the Pond Gnome in outside Phoenix. Hi, Barbi.
Hi, Laura.
So, Barbi, gosh, how long have we been accountability partners? Like at least 6 years.
More years than I'm going to admit.
There you go. It's been a long time. We've been to Arizona to visit you guys twice, so
Yes.
it's nice to have such a close friendship.
Yeah.
And you and I were talking about what topics to talk about. And you said, what's really going on for me right now is determining semi-retirement. And I said, ooh, because you're not the only one there. And I want to talk about what that means for you. And, any advice you have for someone else. Everybody, we're all in the same boat, whereas, mostly everyone listening to this is self-employed. And so, and not to mention pensions don't exist anymore like they used to. I'm very envious of my very good friend's husband just retired as a school teacher just last week.
No, we have to have personal responsibility for our own retirement funds.
So he's got, a huge pension, but those don't exist. So let's talk a little bit. How did you decide? We're not going to mention your age because I'm a woman and I'm very polite, but we'll just say you're over 50. How's that?
Yeah, that works.
Okay, perfect. So you, was this something new, your desire to start thinking about semi-retirement, or how did this even come up?
Well, I've been pretty much working full time since I was 16 years old, because that's when I moved out on my own. So, we keep talking about, we're growing the business and we're doing this and we're doing that. And I'm like, I'm actually getting kind of tired. So, part of my thought process is I want to start working in another direction. I don't want to be the one out on the front lines, going and getting and doing all this stuff. I'd like to be able to travel and take time for hobbies and to be creative and to
develop a hobby.
I know. And to develop friendships, although most of my favorite people live in other states. But maybe I can find some people around here if I work really hard at it. So I just thought, all right, well, first thing I need to do is decide what I want my life to look like.
Okay.
So how much time do I really want to spend on the computer every day? What do I want to do with my time? So that was the first thing I did, was basically made a list of how I want my life to look.
Okay.
Not being involved in the daily grind and operations, but be more of a Overwatch ninja, which is my new title. I'm no longer the commander-in-chief cat herder.
I am
now COO Overwatch ninja.
Okay.
So I don't mind getting on the computer and doing the day end stuff, but putting in 12 hours a day was just getting a bit much for me.
Now, do you have the infrastructure currently to have other people handle what you do?
I do. And that took time, and it also takes trust and training. Yeah. So first you have to, every single task I do, I have to think I have to think about it, not just automatically do it, but think about who else might be able to do it.
Okay.
Who could I assign this to? Oh, wait, Parker could do this. He's actually really good at this. And shoot it off to him. And a lot of times.
And just to explain, Parker is your son who's 25 or 26.
25.
25. And he decided to go into your business and eventually take over. Is that correct?
Yes. He's been working for us since he graduated high school in 2016. Started on the construction crew,
right,
bottom rung of the ladder, and has worked his way through various positions in the company. And right now he is the guy answering the phones and being basically the administrative assistant for the company.
So I'll tell you, many people, including myself, are quite envious because my children have absolutely no interest in the industry.
Well, I think Parker kind of backed into it. He's not as passionate about ponds and wildlife and so forth as Paul is, but he has absorbed a lot of that over the years, because when he was little, we drug him to every single home show, every single event, because didn't have anybody to take care of him. So along he came. And of course I used him unashamedly, oh, you're cute, get out there and hand out business cards and brochures and
Whatever works.
So he did, and he was cute doing it.
So now with this transition, have you stopped making an effort to grow your company and
No, not
focus
at
on
all.
maintain? No.
No, not at
Okay.
all. Actually, I'm doing the parts of the company that I enjoy, and one aspect of that is marketing.
Okay.
I really enjoy doing the website.
Yeah.
Parker and I share the responsibilities of social media. He's doing most of it, and then I'm adding little things here and there. So I like getting out and seeing people. So when there's a in-person event where we get to go out and press the flesh, so to speak, then I'm all in for that.
Okay.
Where, as far as production goes, we have 2 people in place. We have a guy that's the production manager, and he handles the construction end of things. And we have our service manager, and he handles the service crew. So those guys are working constantly to grow their divisions. We're one team, we have 2 arms.
Okay. So what does semi-retirement look like to you?
Well, I'm not involved in the daily grind, the every little thing, I just oversee everything. I'm on my computer only when I want to be. My goal at this point is to work a total of 3 days a week at my current salary.
Okay.
I don't want to lose money.
Got it.
So I want the business to be able to support me as a consultant and overwatch. So that takes some finagling. I only want to do what I actually enjoy doing for the business and hand off the other stuff, which I've done quite a bit of.
Yeah.
So that's good. The scheduling, the service routes and scheduling, Damien does all that now.
Nice.
I don't have to mess with that. He'll once in a while say, hey, I did this. Could you look at it? Yeah, sure. He drafts, and most of the time goes ahead and sends out quotes for new maintenance contracts and service stops.
And that's the same thing that our maintenance manager is learning to do. It takes time though.
Yeah. But basically, I want to lead a little bit more relaxed lifestyle. No alarm in the morning. I have no more alarm in the morning.
Wow.
Not that I don't. Okay. I have to admit, I have a furry alarm that goes off at 5 a.m. every morning. That's a come here, I'm going to cuddle you alarm that goes away.
So 2 questions. The first is, you own the business with your husband, Paul.
Yeah.
Where is he on all this?
Oh, totally supportive of it.
But I mean, is he also wanting to semi-retire?
Not in so many words. He just wants a little more time to play with his toys, his one wheel, his motorcycle, his 69 vet, things like that. We both want the time to be able to travel at will. So a good deal comes along. Oh my God, this is like half price. And yeah, we'll take it and be able to do that. Or, when the weather is right. Oh, it's beautiful here, but hot as hell somewhere else. Well, obviously we're not going to go, or snowing. But if
God forbid snow.
Yeah, right. This is that white stuff. But things like that. Just be able to do things that we want to do when we want to do them.
Is it a, kind of, I'm sure it is a progressive plan to get to where you are, and how long have you been working on it?
Oh, I just started a couple months ago, so I'm not very far into it.
Okay.
But I've already made strides. So if I want to take half a day off to drive to the other side of town to have lunch with my sister, I can do that.
So what makes you able to have this more flexibility now? Is it just like you said, that you've trained your team and your son?
Having good people, reliable people, and being able to train them, having written systems that they can follow.
Okay.
That's, everybody talks about that. And
you and I share a business coach, and systems are her favorite thing in the world.
Oh yeah. Got to have systems, because if you don't have a written policy or system in place, how can you possibly know that it's being followed?
Okay. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Then you can determine, is it a system problem or a people problem?
Right.
Well, the system's there, but it's not being followed. That's a people problem.
We have lots of people problems.
Comes and goes.
We're working on it.
Yeah.
Although, like I will say we have the best crew right now we've ever had, which really helps. And we could see,
Us too.
the future. Our, concern is that our office manager, unlike yours, is also, I don't want to say we're all, getting older. Everybody is. But to the point that in 20 years, she won't be doing this.
Yeah. Honestly, I can't imagine being fully retired.
Okay.
I just can't see that in me yet. I need a reason to get up and do something.
Yeah.
Just getting up to do yoga and sit around all day just isn't going to cut it.
My husband keeps saying he'll retire when he dies. I'm like, well, there you go. There's a cheerful thought. I know,
No.
men, what are you going to do?
I know. Yeah, Paul said yesterday, I think it was, I'll sleep when I'm 6 feet under. I'm like, yeah, you'll get there a lot faster this way.
So what advice do you have for somebody, also wanting to move in the direction of semi-retirement?
Well, you got to make the decision to do it. And like put together what you want your life to look like. And then each one of those items, well, what are you going to do to get there?
Right.
Some require more steps than others, like the accounting. I'm not ready to give up the accounting yet to someone else. So that's 15 minutes a day if you do it every day. It's not that big of a deal.
Right.
Yeah. So and it depends. Some people want to give that up.
Don't mess with the money. That's what I say.
For sure.
Well, we've heard it another way. Don't F with the money.
Yeah.
Same thing.
We'll be polite this time.
So what have you found is the easiest thing so far to kind of pass responsibility off to?
Well, my challenge has been once I pass something off to leave it off. So one of the things I started doing, is you trust people to actually do it.
Okay.
One of the things I've started doing is just like my team, I'm clocking in and out now every day.
Interesting.
To help me set a mindset that when I'm clocked out, I'm clocked out. Go do whatever it is I want to do. And that's helping a little bit. That's been a real challenge for me is leaving the business behind.
Yes. And I think for a lot of us, that is, Matt and I sit and talk about work stuff. It's 10:30 last night. I'm like, why are we talking about this?
Right. Or you're trying to have a romantic date night and here you are talking about the business. It's not going to mix.
What's a date? Just kidding. So one thing I want to go back to real quick is when I asked you what you're doing to prepare, the answer you didn't talk about, but you mentioned before was creating systems so that other people can take over, because it seems like without those systems, you will never be able to even semi-retire and have things go the way you'd like.
Yep. And it's, it can be challenging because you're doing stuff and you're not really thinking there, how do I do that? So one of the things that I found very helpful is I just pick up my phone and do a voice memo. And then either transcribe it myself or have our administrative assistant transcribe it, and ta-da, system.
Okay.
Also, something I learned recently that I haven't actually tried yet, but it'd be great, is to have AI write a system for you.
Oh.
Hey, write a system for this that encompasses these things, and whoop, there it is. And then you've got a draft, edit it will. Copy, paste it into a Word document, get or none.
Okay, interesting. And I know that, that's a new technology that people are just figuring out. So that's an interesting way to look at it, is to help you with your systems.
Absolutely.
Where do you keep all your systems? Like, are they all in your employee manual, or do you have a certain document called systems?
We use Google Sheets and things like that.
Okay, just
so anybody
wondering.
can access it at various times. We're also creating training videos.
We're doing that too.
Videos that everybody can access at any time. So even though they've been trained on something, they now, how did they do that again? They can access the video and rewatch it.
Okay, that's awesome. We've started doing that too, for all questions Matt gets asked, or even things like how to set up lights, just making these videos. Okay.
Yeah. Lighting, wiring has been a challenge. Yeah.
Isn't that for everyone? Now something else, and I don't obviously want you to go into detail, but one thing that a lot of self-employed people have trouble with is saving.
Oh, yeah. So
Saving money, I mean.
Yeah. We practice profit first bookkeeping.
Okay.
There's a whole book on it. There are even accountants that specialize in it.
And that's the buckets.
Okay. So once a quarter, we get a profit sharing, and that goes into our savings account. And then, we've got investment portfolios as well.
And how long have you been working on all this?
That we fund every year.
Yeah.
Oh, we've been doing this now for 4 or 5 years, I think.
So that's not a huge amount of time. I mean, you know what I mean? As opposed to someone that started at 25. We didn't start at 25 either. I was embarrassed to go to a financial advisor because I didn't have enough
they
money.
They pretty much looked at us with pity in their eyes.
Yeah.
We were in age denial for a really long time.
And we just actually, before I talked to you, I just met with my financial advisor, my new one, and we're looking towards the future and towards retirement, which actually I think everyone needs to look at. And I hear in our industry, I often hear people say, I want to retire early. I want my, and again, then that takes a strategy. Like you said, you can't just,
at what age?
And if you just say, I want to sell my business, what's the value of your business? What are you doing? It's not as easy as people think, because a lot of our business is relationships.
It takes a plan. You have to have a plan.
Yeah.
Yep.
Who helped you create your plan?
Plan.
Who helped you create your plan?
Lots of people. Books I read, coaches we've had, lots of people, lots of resources, tons of resources out there.
So one book you recommended is Profit First.
Yes.
Anything else you recommend?
Love Mike Michalowicz. He's got some great business books out there, and they're easy to read because he's got a great sense of humor.
And if you don't want to read these things like me, build a trusted team. My financial advisor works with my accountant, and don't ever have just one person do everything. I think you need a checks and balances system so that you make sure everything's being watched. We have a bookkeeper, we have a separate accountant, and we have a separate financial advisor. Some
of the advice that I've gotten is never have the same person do your reconciliation that signs your checks.
I sign checks. Yeah. And you've heard of this, more than, and sometimes even now, like we'll hear about a school district recently that lost a couple $100,000. You're like, is anyone paying attention? But it's really scary. You can't trust other people. It goes back to my don't F with the money. And no matter how much you want to trust, and I know people in our business that are, I want to say one person operations, but pretty much, and they'll give their office manager free reign of everything.
Yeah.
And that frightens me. Nobody has access. Unless you're
related to that person very closely, it's not a good idea.
So our bookkeeper has access to our financial stuff under a bookkeeper status, if that makes sense, where they can only look at, and I hold limited complete access. Correct.
Limited access.
Which is something, if you're going to give someone that, make sure, again, there's checks and balances to that.
Yeah. You got to keep an eye on things.
Do you see yourself stepping down gradually?
Oh, absolutely. Very gradually, little by little, for everyone's sake.
What advice would you have for someone that doesn't have a son that wants to take over the business? Have a daughter. Have
a goal. What do you want to do with your business? Do you just want to dissolve it and go away? Do you want to sell it to your employees? A buyout program?
Yeah.
Or do you want to just put it on the market and actually sell it someday to a complete stranger or somebody else who wants a pond division or a landscape division?
Right. And so that's something we do have a certain employee, for us in mind that has expressed much interest in eventually taking over.
There you go.
Now, one thing I would advise you not to do that we made the mistake of doing is we named the company after ourselves.
Yeah, and when we were actually naming our company to begin with, we got that advice from some people. I went,
we didn't. So, it's 13 years we've been Aqua Reali, and before that we were Reali Landscape Design. So we made the bad mistake. Don't make that. But if you do, there's lots of companies now that aren't owned by the name of it and have nothing to do
Oh,
with
yeah.
it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, I think a couple of the things we said today were super important and relevant. And that is, it's never too early to start planning. And
No.
don't be like me and be scared and embarrassed, because my financial advisor was just saying, he's like, people ask me what the minimum is I'll work with. And he said, it's not about the minimum. It's about your desire, your motivation, and your willingness to work with them and to want to grow.
Yeah.
So they don't look
I
at what you
think
have. They look at what you want to have and how they can help you get there. So don't be embarrassed, which
No.
again, we were.
You got to start somewhere. Everybody does. When
And
Mark got his first paycheck, I got him involved in starting investment accounts, a little roundup account that would take money out of his paycheck and every expenditure and put it away for him, just to get him started. Now he has his own financial advisor and he's working towards his own retirement at some point.
Which is very unusual for a 25-year-old. So good job on that.
It is. But nobody told me these things when I was 18. And
my mom had a financial advisor. And when I went to try to use him, he told me we didn't have enough money, which is like embarrassing. And, I'll admit that kind of set me off for a while. I didn't want to go to anyone else. So, my other piece of advice is don't give up on what someone tells you. Find the right fit for you.
Get a second opinion.
Don't think you can do it. So now we put 20% of our paychecks go into our retirement savings. Nice. And we do it right through ADP, which is the easiest one I've had. And the financial guy just told me ADP uses American Century funds. And he said, that's a really good one. Mm-hmm. So we don't see the money, which makes it a lot easier to not have the money. Before we get our paychecks, 20% is taken out for each of us.
Yeah. Yeah. And unless you're exceedingly disciplined, which very few people are, that's the best way to do it.
And so, we offered this to every employee. Only one took it. We have the potential for IRAs and retirements for every employee.
Yeah.
And it is very interesting that only one person wanted it.
So maybe at one of your meetings, you could have a financial advisor come speak to your employees about it. That would enhance their overall satisfaction of their job, add some enrichment.
And yes, we certainly can, but then it turns into one of the things Heather's yelled at us about is judging our employees' personal lives, which is not our business. But it's hard when you see and they're making like one employee did something with another. I don't want to go into it, but they made a bad decision and trusted someone. And it takes everything in me, but I can't get involved.
No. This
is not my business. And so it is hard because sometimes we look at things, and we had an employee that we let go for very good reasons, but we're like, your financial decisions aren't smart. But guess what? He wasn't asking our advice. So, and Heather taught us we can only look at the business part of it. We can't look at his personal decisions we don't agree with, because that doesn't affect us until it affected us by him not coming in. And that's that's a problem. But that's what we could look at. So that's something else is, I can offer it to everyone if they want to choose to do so. And I can give a little more education. You're right. But other than that, that's on you. Like you said, no one helped me. My mom helped me. I was very lucky, but that was my mom. That wasn't my employer.
Yeah.
And when I remember being 25 and I worked at a PR agency, and the financial guy came in, and I was just like, what? I didn't even know what he was talking about. I'm like, I don't even know what these words mean.
It went right over my head because he was talking to the attorneys.
Right.
Whereas the rest of us peons just.
Right.
Oh, it's fine.
Like, okay. So, but I think this is great advice you have, is start now. Know what your end game is, and then create, that's just like when I talk about a marketing plan. Same thing. If you don't have a goal, you just wander around, because where are you going if you don't have a specific goal to get to?
Yep, absolutely.
Then you're just like, a little ion just floating there. Am I going here? So I like that you're prepared like this. And again, one of the many reasons we're good friends is because we both like preparing and knowing things.
I like lists.
So I love lists. You and I, my to-do list has a to-do list in it, which my daughter thinks is the funniest thing in the whole world.
I've been there.
So any final pieces of advice? This has been very helpful.
A year from now, you'll wish you'd started today.
Excellent. And we are starting today. So great advice. I thank you so much, Barbi. You've been a wonderful guest. And you know me, I'm trying to get you on every couple months. So I'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good.
For everyone else, please like, subscribe, and listen to my podcast, now available on anywhere you can find your podcasts, including Spotify and Apple Music, as well as on YouTube. Please feel free to reach out to me anytime, Laura at LandscapeMarketingSecrets.com. Have a great week, everyone.